Okay, so OS is installed. You can see the screen. OS is installed. There are a lot of things also there regarding operating system. Okay, so just one example I want to tell. This is, think like this is a physical machine. I keep it in a full screen mode. Okay, so it is a full screen mode. Check it. My CentOS 7 root user is login, right? So I put a Alt Control F1, no change, right? F2, but something is came. Again, I'm going to F1. So this screen is like this only. When I put F2, it is showing different screen, right? F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, F8 won't there. So F1 to F7, different terminals are there. When you observe here, uh, when I put a command, when I put a command, who am I, root tty1. Okay, I have another user is also there, right? So I'm going to F2. I put a student. Student is a user here, and a password is also student. I given. So I log in and I put a command who am I. So can you see student is login and TTY2. It is showing TTY2 terminal 2. Okay. So when I go to Alt Control F1 means if you are working on a laptop, make sure that you are clicking on that function key also there. Okay. So check it. The operation F1 F2 thing. Okay. Alt Control F1. In F1 in TTA1 I log in as a root and another one I log in as a student. If I have a student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4 in a different terminals I can able to log in. For example, I have a account. For example, Latif is an account, so I can log in here. Latif. I don't have it. Just normally I just type it. That's it. There is no password, no user is there. Okay. So just for example, this is the fourth one. Again, this is 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm putting command called who in the first one only who. Two users are logged to Linux. One is at TTY1, another one is TTY2. So they are directly login with the username and password. They log into the system with a different terminal. Okay, so one is a root, another one is a student. Okay, so what is that meaning is Linux or Unix have a certain properties are there. So for one of the main property is, okay, multi-user support is there. It's a multi-user multitasking support is also there. So it will do multiple tasks. It's a multi-user multitasking is there. Okay. Windows Windows type of environment is single user single user multitasking type. Um, so here is a spelling mistake. Multitasking user. And if you go to the DOS, okay, if you go to the DOS is a single user, single task type. Okay, single user, single task. Okay, multitasking or a multitask. You can use simple words. So that is the difference between DOS, Windows, and Linux. One of the difference. Okay, one of the difference. Okay, so here Linux and Unix is multi-user multitasking. In a single direct machine we can log in with a different kind of users or same users also we can log in. in a single physical machine. So in that monitor we can able to log into each terminal. We can log in with a different user or maybe same user. Okay, so that is the one function. So that is I'm trying. Okay, one by one point. So we will discuss by doing it. Okay, so this is about your multi-user point. And when you put a command who, okay, when you put a command who, it will tell you how many people are logged into this PC. Okay, so we use a command who, and who I means what is the username you log in, and what is the terminal you log in, and when you log in. So that will be shown. Okay, Salman also came. Good. Okay, so that is the two commands. So I'm going to student the terminal. I'm going to exit. But if you are observing, can you see a dollar symbol? Can you see a dollar symbol here? Okay, so in this one, you can see a dollar symbol. Okay, dollar means a normal user is login. Okay, when you see the dollar symbol, if a normal user is login. Okay, okay. And if you see here, hashtag means a root user is login. So remember, when you see a hashtag, it means root is login. So this is for root. If it is showing a dollar means it is normal user or ordinary user ordinary or, or standard user. Normal user, ordinary user, or standard user. Any name you can able to put it. Okay, so in general in Windows also we have a administrator and standard user thing. So like root is nothing but administrator. We already discussed that one. And here it is a standard user means any user other than root. Okay, that is called a standard. When you log in with a standard user, you will get a dollar symbol. When you log in with the root, you will get a hash symbol. Okay. Next, when you want to work with a different user, we can switch the user also. We can switch user. We can switch the user using command called su. Okay. Using su command, we can able to switch from the user. Okay. I will show you that one. How to switch from one user to another user. Like currently I'm running my working with a root user. I'm currently running working with the root user. Now I have to do some task with the student user. Student. Okay, I will show you in a directly in a next part. Now I want to tell not switch user, the important why I am recording this one also, not for a switching user. So think about it. This is very important in a mainly in a Linux. Okay, so this is a my Linux PC. So Linux, we don't use Linux operating system for a desktop application. So Linux we use it, Linux or Unix. We use it for a server purpose only. Okay, so this is my Linux one PC. So we use the Linux operating system for server purpose only. Linux is a very powerful operating system. It has a lot of benefits, and it required a less. It won't require more higher capacity. Higher capacity PC server hardware is not required. Normal hardware also it will run based on your work on it, and it don't require license. It is a open source. Okay, and but Linux mostly we don't use it for desktop related purposes. Like Ubuntu is a Linux based operating system. We can use for desktop purposes. But still, Linux, enterprise Linux, mainly enterprise Linux kind of stuff, we don't use for a desktop purposes because the application support is not much good with the Linux. The not regular application support what we are using, that is not much flexible with the enterprise Linuxes. Okay, so next, if so, whenever you have a Linux server, what they will do, they put a servers into server room only. So you are not allowed to go inside a server room. Why? Because of security. If any unauthorized user are unnecessarily within a small space, if you are sitting there and standing there working on a Linux, directly open the Linux PC and working, it is not allowed in an organization. So you have to administrate the Linux with a remote PCs only. It means through network it is connected. Physically cannot able to access, but you can access the machine using through network only. Okay. So I have a, just for example, three users are there. So each user is like a, user one, user two, user three, like that. Okay. So we have a multiple users are there. So these are the three users are there. These three users want to access this Linux PC remotely. So how do you how can we access? So we are going to normal PC in a certain organizations, means most of the organization they use a thin net connection. So the thin net having its own operating system, in that one, from that one we can do it. For example, if you have a Windows operating system, normal desktop, still we can able to connect it. Okay, so if you are using a Windows machine and you want to connect it to Linux machine from Windows machine, you can able to connect it. In generally they use a thin net. Okay, so thicknet or thin net, so the names are there, no? If you go to Amazon, you can see. Um, this is thin net means it is went to the, so thicknet or thin net. I forget this. Computers. These are mini PC, means it's a complete PC only. These things, what I try to say, this is this kind of PCs like thick center, thin center are there. I wanna go with a small PC. I forget completely. So because it's We are not in another classroom, so my own work. We work in a thin client. So that's I have to put in Google. So thin client. Okay, these are called thin clients. Okay, so what is the thin client like this? So this is a small PC which is very less cost. The cost is starting around 1500, 2000, 3000 each box. So each box contains all the PC connection requirement like a monitor connector, network connector, power connection, USB for connecting your keyboard, mouse like that. Like what you are connected things to the system, so you have to connect it to it. Okay, and it don't have any much high end processor and all, very basic storage thing. Okay, so from using this box, instead of buying a full mode desktop, okay, instead of buying like this a desktop, so you can buy this kind of stuff because we are not working inside of this box. So this is for only to make a connection. We are actual operating system is here and actual process is running here only. That box is only for uh, connecting to the Linux PC using remotely. Okay, so remotely you can able to connect it, or you can use normal Windows box type also. Okay, okay. So either way, if you want to connect like to this one and log in, and you can do it. So when I write these users here, it means the users already created in this server. So user is already in the server. So I took a lot of time to explain this one. Okay, these three users are created already in this server, and these three users can log in from network. So through network, we can able to log into our Linux PC. Whether you are having a Windows PC, laptop, desktop, or maybe a Linux PC, Linux operating system, or maybe terminals like that is thin clients. You can use connect whenever you connect a thin client having a basic operating system features. Okay, so that will give you remote connection possibilities. Okay. Mm. So this is a one story. Okay, another story. So I will start another story in here. Okay, how we can connect remotely. So which protocol we are using to connect remotely. So for remote connections. Okay, so what protocols we can use? SSH and Telnet. Can anybody want to tell port number for SSH and Telnet? SSH 22. Very good. SSH 22. Telnet 23. 23. Very good. So Telnet is like it is also a remote connection. We can connect remotely. Problem is Telnet is not encrypted. Okay, SSH is encrypted format, so SSH is a more secure. In Linux, by generally it use SSH for remote connection. So what I have to do use here in generally okay, if you want telnet only means you can put a telnet. Like you have to install telnet and about the ends, telnet server, telnet client and connection. But by default, our Linux operating systems are having SSH in internally. So we have to connect through SSH from our devices or PCs. Okay. For example, this is a Windows operating system. Okay, that is Linux operating system. How to access using SSH? We can able to connect it. So again, SSH connections configuration and maintenance is little bit difficult for a normal users. So what they are using, they are using an application. Okay, an application. It is an application. So the name of this application is Putty. Name of this application is Putty. So this is a very simple application, just to download only, not no need to install also. Once you open, it will open. So this is a Putty application, and Putty also lot of Putty also having a lot of remote connection features. So then we can use the Putty for different purposes also. Okay, so this is a Putty as an application. Here you have to select SSH protocol and then give the IP address, and after that one you can give a username and password, we can connect it. So why we are using this Putty? Putty is easy to open and work with that one. Okay, so here in our today's part, means current part, is how to configure SSH and SSH keys, and how to download and work with the Putty and connect with Putty. Okay, later I will tell you how what is the benefit of it. So first of all, I want to download Putty from internet. So how to download a Putty from internet? It's very simple. Just type Putty. So this is a putty.org. Click on it, and there is a different type of names are there. No? So you can see download Putty. Click here. Okay, if this page is open, right? So here scroll down. Better there is a few .msa formats also there. Okay, or you can download like I'm using 64-bit because my system is also 64-bit. You can install 64 or 32 also. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one and paste here first, and also chart box. Okay, so save it. Download the Putty. Already I have a Putty, but to show you how to download, it is very small one only. Putty.exe 64-bit. Click. Okay, yeah, it is accepted the request. Now it is going to be download. Okay, because I am using free download manager. Okay, yeah, it is downloaded somewhere. I didn't check where it is downloaded. In desktop only. So this is the putty.exe. Okay, here is this. This is the one putty.exe. So from here we can able to connect it. So here in our server, so when we are install a machine, okay, right? So this is our server, and we have to do few things. Okay, so it is downloaded into your physical machine, means your Windows machine only. Okay, we are downloaded Putty in your Windows machine only. Okay, now what I want to do is first in Linux. Okay, so this is I downloaded. Want to install, just if you open it, it will. Okay, okay, so Windows PC. So in Linux, what you have to do? So it is already in a root. So it is showing a hash symbol. Okay, it is already in a root. It is showing a hash symbol. So what you have to do? Put ls command to see what is there. After that one, ls space -a. Okay. So root is login. Put ls. So it is showing only one file. So when you put ls space -a, there is a dot files also there. So What is ls? It will show you number of files in this current directory, and ls space hyphen a all means including hidden files. You can able to see here. Okay, so you have to find a .ssh folder. Okay, you have to find. So what you have to find here, .ssh folder should be found. Okay, so did you find .ssh folder in root directory? No, so there is no .sh file. Then what we have to do? Okay, and put a command called ssh-keygen. This is the command. Run this command. Okay, so it will ask some questions like which password you want to put it, what you want to put it, like that. Nothing to do it. Just put a enter, 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 enter only. Okay, each and option is enter only. Okay, so nothing you do. Mm. ssh hyphen keygen. Okay, so if you see the bottom of the screen, ssh hyphen keygen. I'm pressing enter. I'm not changing anything here. Just enter, enter, enter. Okay, so once you are enter everything, okay, it will show you some random thing. Okay, but see, if you find now .ssh folder is created. If you are comparing previous output here, okay, there is no .ssh, but now .ssh folder is there. Okay, and ls space hyphen a .ssh. So you can find what is there inside of .ssh. There is a two files are there. One is a id space rsa, another one is id underscore rsa dot pop. So what is that meaning? The first file represent private key, second file represent public key. So if you want to connect remote sessions frequently, so you have to take the public key. So remaining thing we will see. So important here. Okay, so enter, enter only. Okay, so I didn't put a more enters. Enter, enter type only. So once you are got this mark hashtag. Okay, so what you do? So ls, then ls is hyphen a. Did you find .ssh or not? Did you find a .ssh or not? Then what to do? ls space hyphen a .ssh. You want to find out what is those files? Then for that one we can see it. Okay. So what we done here? Okay, so we generated a ssh key. That's it. We generated ssh key. Now how to connect? Linux PC with Putty in network. Okay. So here we need one more important information, that is IP address. You have to connect with the IP address only, right? How to get IP address? That's the question. So how to get IP address of Linux? If config is a one of the command, so it usually don't work. So use IP space addr. Okay, IP space addr. So my IP address is 192.168.2.169. So if you want, you can find here. So where is this? .169. This is my IP address. So you can use ifconfig, IP space addr. Lot of other options also there, but this is my IP address. Okay. Now using Putty, I'm going to connect it to my virtual machine. Yeah, here is a Putty. Now SSH is selected, port number 22. Paste the IP address. You can click on open, or you want to change any settings, you can change it. Colors, appearance, like that. Okay, just I'm connecting. Like this is a name, and this is an SSH. Okay, so when you got like this, click on yes. Read everything. Click on this. Now it is connected. So can you see this one? It is connected. Now I log in as a root admin @123. See, I log in as same thing, same PC. Like if you put a host name, okay, same name, same IP, you will get it. So if you want to work on the PC, so you can use this connections remotely. Mhm. Mhm. Color also danger, right? Okay, background is usually white is better. Background should be white color. This is not change. Bold foreground, black color, foreground. Black color. Okay. So appearance I put a 14 points. This I change. So see, and what is advantage? I can copy and paste into Notepad. What are the commands I done? So I can copy and paste into my Notepad. So if you put a who am I, it is telling root, but the terminal is earlier TT by 1 and PTS by 0 in this one because we are connected remotely. TTY is a direct terminal, physical terminal, but this is like a we are connected remotely. So this is put. Now you can do anything. You can shut down the PC if you want to put a command. It's quite easy, and you can also copy paste the commands also. Like I like these two commands, then I'll take it and paste it. So it is simple without writing into paper and all. But we should write the paper once you are complete the practical. Okay. So this is how to configure SSH key generator. First we have to do in our PC do SSH key generators. Once it is generated, note down the IP address of the virtual machine and download the putty and put the IP address there and make sure that SSH connection. Okay, it is asking for username and password. Once you put username and password, yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to stop.